Lotta just ran away.
Ah,
Oh, we are live. Oh no. Um, People have to keep convincing me of that. So, hi everybody. Welcome to Queercast Live. We have four of our friends on here, and I've asked them to come on tonight. To me, they're people that I love, but more than that, they're people that we want you to get to know. We're going to talk a little bit tonight about the war in politics against drag. And I say in politics because that's what it is. It's just pure political BS. And it's by people who are deflecting onto something they think they can control that they can't even really point out an issue with. They just, you know, and in reading anything I can get my hands on, 99 and 9/10% of them have never even been to a drag show. So I thought tonight that we would talk about that a little bit and kind of get some impressions from our friends and see what they've got to say. I don't know. I think your screen will show what we have, what I'm seeing, and in the middle on the top next to me. Are you seeing that same thing? Is Kyle's in the middle? Is this what's showing on everybody's screen? So in the middle next to me is Kyle Christopherson, and Kyle's stage name is Kendall Klein. Joe, can you? Oh, oh, wait. We're gonna get there. You go. This is Kendall Klein. Yay! Yes. And then next to Kendall is Chase Lambert, known to us as Kathy Calamity. Okay. Yeah, yep. And then on the bottom left, our bottom left is Aaron Avila, Rain and Chaos. And Rain and Chaos is our current um, Miss Lacrosse, Miss Lacrosse Pride for 2022. Just got
yay.
that. Yeah. And then on the bottom right is Trouble herself. I just don't. Josh Bills Kemper, also known as a lot of shots, and there's a lot of shots. So, yeah. So, what I want to do, let's first try to find out and get to know you a little bit better. So, we may as well just start and go counterclockwise. So Kyle, you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Absolutely. So I am the current store manager of Duluth Trading in downtown La Crosse. So that's my day to day. I'm originally from like the Madison, Wisconsin-ish area. I've been in La Crosse. This is actually my second time living here over the past 10 years. So kind of native-ish here now.
Okay, you're a lacrosse. What do you call people that live in Cross? I know when I'm from Flint, Michigan, we call ourselves Flintstones, but you know. Oh, do you hear? Joe says that we call people that live in lacrosse gifted. Get out. Oh my God. All right. Well, Chase, tell us about you.
So day to day, I'm a server at Buzzard Billy's. That's what I've got going on. I grew up not very far from here in Toma, Wisconsin. So I know the La Crosse area pretty well, and I've lived in La Crosse for about 8 years.
Oh, okay. All right. Longer than me. Okay, Aaron, how about you?
I'm a hairstylist by day, couch potato by night. I've lived in La Crosse for about 10 years. I grew up in Southern California.
Oh, where?
Um, Probably like it's like in between LA and Palm Springs.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
pretty far down south.
And now you're in lacrosse.
Yeah.
Wow. 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 Josh, what about you?
Hello, my name is Josh Bilskemper, and I was born and raised in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I now live up in the Twin Cities, and I am a middle school science teacher with biology and geology emphasis. I've been doing that about 9 years. What else do we need to talk about? Was that it?
Yeah, just kind of basically who you are and what you do.
Oh yeah, I play a lot
Yeah.
of shots. I'm that kooky clown. So
Yes, your favorite thing, stupid cells. Hey, I used to have my T-shirt on. Was it last week that says a lot of shots coming in hot? Remember those T-shirts? from way back.
I'm a
Yeah.
t-shirt.
Everybody was like,
God.
"Ooh."
I remember those.
Yeah. Well, I still wear mine, you know. Um, you know, I don't even know how you would begin to tell me how this has affected you all. All of this stuff that's going on. I mean, all the bills. We have 15 or 16 states now that are introducing bills that are, wrangling back and forth. Not everybody wants to pass them, but they won't let them die. The things that they're based on and stuff. I mean, you guys can answer these in any order. I won't be calling on you all that stuff. But how must this affect you if you take 1 year ago today as compared to what things are like now? How has that affected your life?
Well, I would say so as a hairstylist, for me, I deal with people face to face all day long. So I am pretty unapologetic about who I am and what I do. So I put pictures up at my station. I'm always promoting the shows and stuff. So I'll print out our flyers and stuff and I'll put them right up at our mirror. I don't care if people are not happy with it.
Yeah.
So sometimes I see a little bit of ugliness from people.
Is that right?
Luckily, I haven't actually gotten people angry, but I have had clients that I thought were pretty good people and that I really enjoyed stop coming to me, or they have said some pretty nasty remarks to other of my coworkers when I walked away to go mix their color or things like that. So that's kind of affected me on a day-to-day basis. It's been pretty sucky. So that's one thing that I've noticed that's kind of affected my day-to-day at work, at least.
Mm-hmm. Yep. What about you guys?
Well, I think for me in general, just being a drag entertainer in general already has a lot of societal things that come with it. I know as a science teacher, I know I've gotten a lot from parents and other individuals in the community just because, I do it on the side and it really just comes down to an ignorance and a lack of education for most people. Most people, I would say, who don't agree with it or are against it either have never been to a show, majority, B, have this weird twisted sense of what it's about when it's not always that in general whatsoever. And it's just another way of people who are uneducated or are afraid of, you could say, the other to just have some stuff against us. And I think a big reason why we're seeing a lot of this now in today's world, when it's been around forever, let's just be honest with that, is I think it's starting to become a lot more mainstream to a point. And I think that's really striking a nerve with a lot of people who want the mainstream to be just perfect rainbows and sunshine and everything is just in their own little world. And sadly, reality hits and the world's not like that whatsoever. And I think people just need to just be educated and learn about themselves and understand that there are so many other different people out there who come from different backgrounds and experiences and whatnot. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to come to the shows, don't come to the shows. Point blank period. I'm not forcing you to come to the shows. I'm not forcing your kids to come to anything. It's basically up to you.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you guys?
I think that for me, it just feels like it's very calculated attack, on the LGBTQ community, as far as drag in situations where it's concerning straight people or straight people portraying drag is always accepted. I mean, that's always a really cheap form of comedy in some kind of tasteless films, but some, I mean, not always. There are some good ones too out there, but I mean, when it's straight people doing it, then it's okay. I think the part that bothers me most, especially since I did work in education previously, is how they're twisting kids up in the situation as well, making it seem like they're a target of drag shows. And that's a comment I see online a lot is, why are you targeting kids? Well, we're not targeting kids. We may have a show that is appropriate for kids to be at, but we're not out here dragging kids into drag shows and stuff like that. I mean, that's I don't know. That's something that bothers me, is the kid portion of it, especially if you work in that field where I know many, drag queens, and I don't know anyone that would do anything to harm a child.
Kyle, what about you?
I'd say the biggest thing for me is just the stigma. I mean, I've been doing drag for almost a decade now, and like when I started, yeah, sure, it was still something different of, oh, they're a drag queen, or they're a performer, whatever. But now it's like, oh, you're a drag queen. Like it has a whole different, almost like negative connotation to it. And to play off what Chase was just talking about, like the all ages children's shows and things, like I always tell people when they have an issue with it, I was like, you as a parent get to make that decision. We're not making an all ages shows to try and make money off your children. Like we're doing it to create an inclusive environment, and potentially, we may make more money with parents who don't normally come to shows or whatnot. But like, that's not our goal, is to like expose them to anything other than like an entertainment, like it's an entertaining show for a couple hours.
Yeah. And all of you have made points that I even had put notes on, with the kids. I believe with all of my heart, the politicians are using the kids because they're just trying to get to parents and older people. The only way to do that is to use kids because they don't really have any reason. And I agree with you. Chase, you said that you don't know any drag queens that would ever harm a child. I know a lot of drag queens, but you will never convince me that any of them would ever harm a child. And that's what drag's all about anyway. It's entertainment. It's fun. It's art, and has been around since Shakespearean times. And just like you said, some good shows, some bad shows, but everybody thought Mrs. Doubtfire was hysterical, and Tootsie. Remember Tootsie?
Yeah, that's great.
But Burl Ives, or what's his name? Milton Berle. I mean, just back throughout the years, I'm 70, and the whole time I was growing up, there were people, mostly men dressed as women, but there were other shows where, look at Julie Andrews, who played a woman who played Victoria, but nobody thought anything of it. And that's my whole point. Nobody thought anything of it. And now we have politicians, and again, it's a political war. It really is. It can't possibly be personal or moral or any of those things. And I do believe they're deflecting because there's too much stuff they can't do anything about. So now they've decided to take it in a completely different direction, and they can't explain themselves. Most of them have never seen a drag show. One politician said, well, I saw a clip from a pride parade, and that's not for our children. And I'm thinking, what? And then don't take your kids to the gay pride parade, honey. If you've got a problem with that, keep them home. Take them to Cedar Point or something. I don't know, but what they're trying to make it sound like, and I have seen this, and this is a quote, that drag queens are predators and groomers. It's like, grooming for what? No, Hooters are groomers,
Girl, and like I get the double brunt of it being a teacher and a drag queen, because like they're going after both of those groups of people saying we're groomers, and I'm like, I don't even know if I want kids. Most drag queens don't even want kids or want anything to do with kids. So the fact that we're trying to get after them is crazy.
Yeah. We were joking about that the other day where I was like, I don't want drag kids that are my own kids.
And like, even with like teaching and all that stuff, it's like, gosh, I just if I had it my way, I would be teaching your kids how to be respectful and how to be decent people.
Thank
because
you.
That seems to be
Yeah.
lacking for most households nowadays.
Yeah. When I was teaching, I taught for 20 years, a science teacher. And I would have given anything if I could have groomed their kids to be curious and responsible and well-mannered. You know, I'm getting to the point where the word grooming just about turns me inside out. And I think that the reason being is because it's being used in a negative way, and it's against people who would never hurt anyone. People are practicing their art. And I'm having a really, really hard time. I mean, it's more probably part of their problem is it's more popular right now than ever, I think.
Well, and I also like there's like this one or two videos that are floating around where I do like they're using it to villainize like all drag queens, where yes, there have been a couple videos where there's like these drag queens in like really, really adult outfits, and they're like dancing right in front of these children in ways they really should not be. And I get it, but there are bad apples in literally every single group in the entire world. But just because that there's these videos of just these particular people does not mean that every single, like, you can use that same argument with how like people are upset at the police, and then they're like, well, not all police are like this, and or not all men, or all
Yeah,
these
exactly.
things. So it's just like I just think it's ridiculous that like just because like there's like one instance that they can find, it's the only instance that they can find. It's just that one video. Now all of us are being villainized for that.
I know, and they're on there digging through there trying to find something to justify what they're doing. There's a TikTok video out now that show, and it might be the same one that you're talking about too. I'm not really sure, Aaron, but somebody, some politician saw it and said, "Oh my God, there are children in the audience." The TikTok videos, like what, 30 seconds long. Children in the audience. The place is being fined $10,000 and might lose their liquor license.
Yeah.
And it's like, take a look. 16 states. It's hard for me to believe that Wisconsin isn't one of these states. Knock on wood. But here's the thing. When people are attacking something, the thing that I think, and I don't care what it is, I don't care if it's drag, I don't care if it's LGBTQ centers that are full of those people, or who it is. If you're going to speak of it, learn it first. And
Right.
most of the people do not really truly know.
Yeah.
Well,
like even when the first show that we put on at the Bronze Dragon, it was an all ages show, and we had protesters. I don't know if you heard about that. And we ended up having counter protesters, which pretty much outnumbered them, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But Caitlin, the owner, she went out there and she kept asking them, like, why don't you just come in and just see it? And so you can actually see what it is that you're even protesting, because you don't even know what you're protesting. And
exactly.
they refused.
They refused. But sometimes I think you don't want to know, because then you'd have to stop what you were doing.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, come in and see it. No.
Right.
Why not? No reason. And a lot of the bills that they've got going on right now are so vague. They really are. They're vague, and they say, talk about adult entertainment. And first of all, I'm not sure what's wrong with that. And I think I'm not sure, but Chase, was it you that said that they're targeting the gay community mostly? More than drag, they're using it as a...
I think that they're using the drag thing as an attack on the queer community, because it's really, that's like you brought Mrs. Doubtfire, and like even still today there are things being put out there where it's straight men doing drag.
Mm-hmm.
So it's only really being looked at as in the lens of it's tied to the queer community. So I think it is being used to attack the queer community.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, to me, that's especially, I mean, queer spaces now in states where they can't do things maybe like they did before to make a living or to, support their business. Yeah.
This is
Very calculated.
I mean, it's cutting into people's living, isn't it? I mean, there are people who do this full time for a living and have for years. And I'm I wish I could understand where they're coming from. Because I don't get it. I mean, I really don't. I don't even mean to sound naive, but I don't get it. I don't understand where the problem has arisen, other than the fact that we know, everybody knows that there's I hate to keep using this, but this is exactly how it feels. We know that there's a war on the LGBTQ community. We know that there's a war on the trans community. And then they just spread it to the drag community. And it feels to me like they're hitting out. They're just like blindly hitting out till they can find something that it hits. You know what I mean? They thrash around. Let me see if we can get any traction with this one and that kind of thing. And, I don't know. Is there a way? What do you guys think? And I'd like to hear what you all think about. Is there a way to try to, I don't know if I want to say stop it, because I don't know, but to push back, to harm their cause, to prove where they're coming from, and we need to. Oh, I should get a hold of Michael Moore, shouldn't I?
Yeah,
I'm so serious.
I think honestly, I think it means that we keep showing up and being really transparent. I do think one of the things now is there is extra pressure on us to be super professional. It's hard right now, especially if you're going to do drag in a place that is for everybody. It's hard. Drag cannot necessarily be like the dark, edgy thing it always, people look at it as.
Yeah.
I think you are under extra pressure to really button things up and be transparent about what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just, and as far as like the political thing go, it's just another minority group that the right is trying to attack.
Yeah, and I think, and like this sounds like a really cliche answer, but like it comes down to voting. Like
that is not cliche.
This country is more than 50% liberal. Like the statistics are there, the facts are there. It all comes down to voting. And
well, look what happened with that last voting. Like they came out in droves. Like I think this was like the most that showed up. Like young people, like Generation Z, is coming for blood right now, which is
it is. And they came out to get a liberal justice in there.
Yeah, and I think that's why we're seeing a lot of like really targeted things from the right now, because I think they see the writing in the walls in regards to like this country is becoming more and more liberal, and literally when you're playing a game and you can't win, you're gonna cheat. You're gonna spin the rules. You're gonna do everything you can to stay in power.
Oh my God, yes.
I literally think this is just another thing out of the playbook where, like the other side has really. They've always gone after minority groups, little by little by little. They've gone after African American. They've gone after other nationalities. They went after gay marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
But notice how it keeps shifting, because as the decades and the years go on, more and more like people on the right have family members who are gay. So you can't really play on that playbook anymore, because so many people know gay people and they're like, well, what's the big deal? So now we're going to an even smaller, more minority group where people don't go, and people are very uneducated on it in general, and they're using that to really get what they want. And you can just see it went from a bigger group to a smaller group to a more smaller group, and it just, you can see it in the history books. And there's been a lot of research on like people who are like on the right, you could say, whatever. And when you look at like their brain and what really gets their brain going is fear and disgust. Those two elements of life really get the brain of right-sided people really going. And
Mhm.
when you look at the idea of someone dressing up in a different gender or something like that really triggers those responses hardcore. And when you can captivate that audience just on that, they're going to forget everything else you're screwing them on.
Yeah.
So, like Chase has said, it's all very calculated, and
Mhm.
we just need to stand together. We need to get out there and vote. We need to do everything we can because we have the majority. There's no reason we should even be in this spot, but
I know.
it's what it is to the point of where we're at. So
I know. You have to, this is why we don't have Bernie Sanders for president right now, right? Honest to God, I would go to the rallies, and there were 30, 40,000 people at those rallies. It just absolutely made my hair stand up. And it was just like, oh my God, there's no way this man can lose. And he did, because people don't go vote. And Josh, you're so right, because if people would put other people in office that don't feel this way, that have two brain cells to rub together, who aren't so closed. And yeah, you made a point that really it was true. It hit. And that's when you said, if you can't get this group, then make it smaller. Narrow your target. And you're right, it started with gay marriage. When Trump got elected, Joe and I were going to get married, and we hurried up. We hurried up and got married because we were sure they were going to take that away from us, But when that kind of and it, they've tried to dig that back out again, but it keeps kind of dying down. So now it feels like what they're doing is chiseling away at us, and in any group they can. And there's a few people that have made comments. Can you guys see those comments? I don't think the people out there can. So Marina says, we love a lot of shots. Marina, she's the one that helps at the shows at Java Vino. Aaron Ramos says, facts. Said, I took my 13-year-old daughter to drag brunch just recently. She said, wow, Mom, this is so much fun. They are so fantastic. And Angel says, they are brainwashed. People might know Angel is Tenacious Eddie. This is why I spend hours debating on Facebook, trying to educate them, but it gets us nowhere. They are so set in their beliefs by the hateful crap they follow.
can we stop there quickly?
Yeah.
Eddie, if you're watching, stop doing that. It gets you nowhere, and it gets them nowhere, and it gets you more
Stop it.
up than you need to be. Just avoid the trolls.
They don't listen.
I'll tell you, I don't think that people want to know any different. Blair McKee, is that McKees or McKeys? Says 100. Yeah. Marina, wait a minute. What's this say? Marina, I actually love all of you. You're truly talented. I love your art.
Thank you.
Yeah. And Blair says, this is our second year having drag at Viroqua Pride, waiting on the backlash. Yeah, you know what, Blair? You're right. And when I saw that Viroqua was having a drag show, I was like, yes, yes, yes. But you know what? It's like, when Viroqua Pride came around, and I thought, when we had a table there, people were really, really nice. And then
even the protesters were fine. Were great last year. They just sat at a table and were quiet. They just didn't really say anything last year.
Yeah, yeah. We had a drag race 3 or 4 years ago. It was so hot that it was sickening, and we even had to shorten it down. But and Dawson was there, but we had somebody that was out there playing gospel music, I guess, and then he was reading from the Bible, and it was so hot. That man was in a suit, and I just thought he was probably gonna keel over, and somebody took him a bottle of ice water and was really, really nice to him, and he ended up not staying. And I think he found out that we're not that bad.
Yeah, that's what at the Bronze Dragon, that's what Caitlin was doing, because it was raining and cold. She brought everyone like hot cocoa, all the protesters.
Yep. And we have queer coloring, so people can come in and watch us, all of us, horrible, disgusting people coloring. You know what I mean? It's like, and so being transparent too. You were saying be transparent, and I think it's so true, because let people get to know you. Let people know who you are. And I wanted to bring so many pictures. I just wanted to have a little slideshow going here. But there's when I think about age appropriate shows that you guys have, Mary Poppins, Mrs. Frizzle, Lumiere. Angel was Lumiere. And I think about that, and I think, please come in here and tell me what you find offensive about this and what you find dangerous to our children about this.
Right.
Yeah, and being transparent. You know, I said to Joe, I said, if I did drag, I would hope that I wouldn't get intimidated by these people. And I mean, it doesn't stop me from going to drag shows. That I don't think if I did drag, it would stop me from it, because you're right. Be transparent. Keep getting out there and do what you do. And I'll tell you what, all the attention that's being brought on the drag community, the art, the shows, in a way, it's great advertising. Keep talking about it, people. And people are going to start coming to the shows to find out what's up. You know what I mean? And they're going to find out. So one of the things I wanted to bring up too is because a lot of people think that I don't even know what they think, but they all believe that it's all just men who are dressing as women. And I mean that, and everything you read that goes on, and in some cases, don't put it lightly. So, got an answer to that, Aaron?
What's up? No, it's definitely not. Obviously, I am a woman.
Mhm.
I am a pansexual woman. I always tell people I'm bi because it's easier to
So they don't say
explain.
what's pansexual. Yeah.
It's much easier to explain. And I mean, I used to always think that I was bisexual, but I'm just kind of starting to realize that I'm pan. But
Mhm.
regardless, yeah, it. I get it all the time where I have to explain it to people, or like when I tell them I'm a drag queen, I get this like I get the head tilt, and they like look at me where they're like, wait, or like, are you a man? Like, or are you trans? Or, I get that a lot, but sometimes I'll even just explain it before they even ask. But drag is an art form. I have gotten some backlash from people telling me that I'm not a drag queen because I am a woman. A lot of the times it comes from people who don't even do drag. But I have heard it from other drag queens before. But
Okay.
I feel like over the past year of doing drag, I have proved myself. I work pretty damn hard at what I do. And I mean, they even make fun of me because I take so long to get ready. I take longer than all of them to get ready. So I mean, it takes me it takes me longer than them to get ready. So I put in a lot of work to do what I do. So, but it is an art form, and I mean, if people want to do drag, just go do it and just put the work in, and you can do it.
Right. We had somebody that said 2 or 3 years ago, a young woman said, "Oh God, it's just so not fair. I want to do drag." I was like, "Do it. You do it. You can. Women can do drag, and women do drag, and that's one of the things that I don't think people. That's just another reason why I feel like people don't really understand completely what drag is. I wanted to have Eddie on here, but I think they had a client, and right up until the last minute and couldn't be on here. But there are women doing drag as what's a good way to put it? Is kind of like over exaggerated women. I mean, just you
Um,
absolutely knock my socks off when you come out. It's like God, look at her. She's so amazing.
thank you. I guess it'd be like hyper feminine.
Hyper feminine. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
yeah.
good way to put
A
it.
lot of people would describe me as like what would be called an AFAB queen,
Hmm.
assigned female at birth. I'm getting to the point where I don't really like to put a label on it. I am a drag queen. I don't
Right.
really say that I'm a AFAB queen. Sometimes I'll just say it just to explain it to people.
Sure.
But yeah, you can call it what you want. I don't really care. But yeah,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
but there are even like drag performers, like there are male performers who are like Taylor Ashton. There are male performers who perform as men. They
Men.
just wear
Yeah.
very flamboyant clothing and
Yep.
perform.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
just an art form. You wear beautiful clothing and
Yep.
or crazy clothing. It doesn't have to be just beautiful, but
Yeah.
just go on with
Yeah.
your thing.
It's just amazing. I mean, I wish that we could get anybody that hasn't been to a drag show. I wish we could just get people in and have them do or have them watch, I should say, some drag performances. And somebody said something about them being magical. I think it's true. And I don't know. I don't care how many of your shows I'm at. When you guys come out and you're performing, I'm always like, oh, oh. I'll be next to Joe, hitting at her. Look, oh my God, look. We really enjoy it. But the thing about it is that's what it is it's art and it's entertainment and it's fun, and beautiful, visually beautiful. And I can't I can't dredge up anything within me that sees it as anything
There it
awful.
is.
Oh, and look at that. There you are. There you are, Kendall Klein. Now, oh, and there's a lot of shots. Coming in hot. No, and Chase.
Yeah.
I love it. I love you guys so much. And I want other people to come and see and hear. I want to find some way to make these people who are trying to put an end to it stop and see what they're doing, you know? Um, let's see, Blair. We had a family last year that took a chance and brought their family out. They're so happy and grateful for the art and will be opening their kids up to that as often as possible. See, that's what I just, when I was a kid, my dad, we lived real close to a bar. Um, it was the State Bar in Flint, Michigan, and they had drag shows there a lot. And when we drove by, because my dad and I went down in that area a lot. My grandpa lived down there. And, sometimes we would see the people coming out after the drag shows. And, I would just look at the women and say, Daddy, they're so pretty, and he'd say, and he'd say, and he's this old fashioned guy from Missouri, but he'd say, aren't they? Aren't they though? You know what I mean? And it's all you got to say to a kid. You don't have to, they're not trying to do anything, to the children.
Yeah, it like because I get that thing where people are like, "Oh, it's confusing the children." It's like I'm sure half the time they don't even know that it's a man or whatever. They just see a beautiful creature in
Right.
makeup and a dress. Like they just see they don't know and they don't care. They just pretty.
I
Oh,
know.
cool.
Children aren't the problem,
No.
and even children, accepting. There's that old joke about the family that was having their gay uncle over for dinner, and the parents were flippant about what were they going to tell their kids, and so when they got there for dinner and they were eating, and their uncle reached over and patted his partner's hand, and the little kid said, "Mama, why is uncle patting his hand?" And she said, "Because they love each other." And he said, "Oh, okay. Can I have another biscuit?" You know what I mean? That's just how strung out kids don't get about stuff. It's the parents. The drag shows aren't planting anything in the children. It's the parents and the politicians that are planting things in the children.
No, and I relate to that story so much just because, like, my sister, she's 5 kids, and at least 3 of them are of age where they can, like, understand some things now. And, like, she's always been very transparent with them, just being like, yeah, uncle dresses like a woman to make money. And, like, her kids have never once questioned anything. Like, a few weekends ago, they're actually up here visiting, and I had a show that night, and I was getting ready, and one of her kids came over, and he's like, "Oh, do you have a show tonight?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. Sorry, I have to go." He's like, "Yeah, you go make that money, uncle." And I'm like, "How cute." Like, literally, like, all you have to do is just be honest with them. Like you said.
Yeah, and it's about the parents. Like I totally agree with that, because like my niece and nephew, like I went over there to visit, and they were little, and I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and they asked me about it, and I explained what drag was, and they were like, "Oh, okay." And then my niece wanted to like dress up all crazy because she thought it was so fun, and I dressed her up. And my nephew wanted to do it, so I dressed him up, and they were having such a good time. And then my brother-in-law came home, and he got so upset, and because my nephew was dressed as a girl, and then after that, my nephew, like, he was so like, boys don't wear those things and all of that. So it's like what the parents teach their kids,
It's
like, because if he wouldn't have made a big stink about it, then he would have just thought like, okay, it's fun to play dress up, like,
Yep.
who cares,
It's
so
true. I had a nephew a great nephew actually, that could not wait to get to his cousin's house because she let him wear her princess gown. And he loved going over. The first thing he did was he'd head in her room and get her princess gowns to put on. So, and it is what the parents tell the kids. Kids are so accepting and so open. I mean, I don't mean this to sound bad because everybody knows I love puppies, but they're like puppies. Puppies have no concept of right or wrong. No matter, like right there. And they don't. We have to tell them what's right and wrong.
right.
You know what I mean? And when we tell a child who's just open and accepting that something is wrong, they didn't come up with that on their own.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think that's part of the reason why I'm like, so I don't care like what people think about what I wear or what I do. Like I exclusively wore boy clothes, and I used to I don't know why I chose this name, and I used to have people call me Scott like when all throughout 5th grade, I only wore boy clothes. My parents were just like, all right, if that's what
whatever,
you want to do, I guess we're calling you Scott.
Yeah. Can we call you Scott from now on?
Yeah, just call me Scott. And my mom, apparently, when I got older, my sister told me, yeah, Mom thought you were going to be a lesbian, but she was half right, I guess.
She just wasn't able to push you all the way, right?
You're right.
Oh my God, she didn't groom you well enough. Well, I'll tell you. Hold on a minute. There was something that I don't know if it's worthwhile or not, but you know what I want to do? It'll only take me a minute, and I want to tell you the states that right now have legislation going in them. All right, because a lot of people don't know, and I'll just kind of rush through them. Tennessee has now put in a ban on drag. They're pushing it for all they're worth. And by these legislations, some are just, they're restricting it to places that are not public. They're restricted it to places where there aren't kids. Some of them are completely trying to restrict it. At any rate, here's the states that are doing something about it. And as some of you know, Minnesota is one of them. Missouri, Nebraska, West Virginia, Montana, Oklahoma, Arkansas, South Dakota, North Dakota, Kentucky, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Alabama, North Carolina, Tennessee, Florida, and Texas. Right now are the places that have the legislation going now, and it's funny to me they don't pay any attention. There are a lot of psychologists. There are specialists, people who specialize in child psychology or pediatric psychology or whatever you want to call it, who have said, no, it does not have an effect on children. No, there is no negative effect on children, over and over and over again. And yet, none of these people are paying any attention. They're and I don't even want to say they're pounding their Bibles, because it isn't just the evangelicals or the Christian right that's doing this. There's no proof. There is no
all
proof.
with like COVID and all that, like throughout that, they don't care. They think it's all lies. Like the doctors are lying.
Doctors are lying, scientists are lying, everybody's lying. Yeah, I know.
See this over and over again with this group of people, like global climate change, abortion, like all these big ticket things that has mounds upon mounds of evidence and facts that they just toss it off to the side, and you're just like a good majority of our population here in the United States, there's two groups living in two completely different realities.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you even come to a middle ground in any of those things? I think
on this issue, that's why it's been crucial to the right to get the child story involved in this, because that is super easy to get uneducated people as soon as they hear that their kids might be affected by it negatively. That's a really quick way to get people who don't pay attention to rally to whatever you're trying to oppose. I think it's such, like I said earlier, it seems very calculated. It feels very like these are tools they are using to drum up trouble where there isn't any.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, and I completely agree with you. So what do we do? I mean, a couple of things. I was talking to Alicia earlier, and I said, I don't think that there's going to be a bunch of religious fanatics watching Queercast. And you never know though, right? And I don't think, that we're going to be able to talk to everyone. But what we can do is encourage the people who are watching this to tell other people about what's going on. Alicia said, until it affects you, sometimes people don't know what's even going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. And they think, it's like, well, but just like we were talking a minute ago, and Chase, I think it was you that said, that it's targeted. And it's like, oh, we can use kids. People listen to that. But I think we need to do better about making what's going on well known. We need to talk to people that we know do care or would care if they realize how bad it's got. I told somebody the other day that I thought it was 15, and I said there's 15 states, and they were like, no, there's not. Well, yeah, there is. And people don't know. So we need to be obnoxious about letting people know that, Josh, you're so incredibly right about voting, because we've got to get these people out of here. It's time to clean house, and get them out so that they can't continue to do these things. But keep spreading the word, and just like Chase said, be transparent. Be transparent, and the better they know people, the better they know us. You can't hate what you know.
Yeah.
I think.
And just, I'm a huge advocate for like I said a few times, just be unapologetically yourself. Like don't like I'm just like I'm not gonna back down from my beliefs or who I am because of what they're trying to do at all. Like you're not gonna scare me kind of thing. Like I'm just gonna keep doing it whether you like it or not kind of thing. Because the second they see us backing down kind of thing, then they're just going to keep pushing forward and they're going to get worse.
They will, because if they see you get weak, they'll attack. But, and my mom used to say to me, now just kill them with kindness. And I thought, well, that's stupid. But, she's right. When you're a kid, your parents are stupid, aren't they? But she was right. She was so right. And if somebody, I think, well, just like you said, that when they had the protesters outside of the Bronze Dragon, so she took hot chocolate out there for them, and invited them in, and Cookie went out and talked to them. It's Jessica Cook, we call her Cookie around here. That's what you have to do. We had a guy when we were talking about conversion therapy at the meeting at the city council, and I don't even know. I can't even remember what I said, but this man that was sitting next to Rob Zeller said that I was some fat, stupid broad, and because I was talking against the conversion therapy, and so at the break, I just went up and shook his hand and told him I was that fat, stupid broad that he was referring to. But we sat and talked for 20 minutes. So, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there, I think. And even though you don't want to, even though you want to give them what I think they deserve, sometimes it's better to just prove them wrong.
I think we just keep doing what we're doing, and we make sure that we're doing it airtight. Yeah, I mean, because like any form of entertainment or media, there's room for an adult area and an area that's safe for everybody. So I really think, like, as entertainers too, that's a responsibility that we should take to really show them that there is nothing wrong with what we're doing, and that we can adapt and adjust to fit our audience and make it safe and fun for everybody.
Yep. I agree. I haven't seen one of the shows here that was billed that it was appropriate for kids that wasn't. There's just no question. And if people can just, I wish we could get everybody to come in and watch, but just keep spreading the word. And you know what? I love you guys, and just keep doing what you're doing, and we'll keep supporting you with everything that we are. We love what you do. And you know what? You all came on here at the last minute, and I think it's because it was important. And I appreciate it more than you know. And I'm hoping at some point, little by little by little, we can make a difference.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's see what Angel's got to say just before we go. She says people still think being gay is a choice. Yeah, that's the truth. And she said these states where dressing in drag is banned, and this is true. I mean, you guys know this, and I don't know if the audience knows this, but in some cases, you can't even dress in drag. I'm not talking about having a drag show. I'm talking about dressing in drag. But so Angel says, who's to say if someone is dressed in drag? Where's the line? What if I went out super dressed up, but I have big muscles as a female bodybuilder? Are they going to need me to show them my private parts to prove I'm not a man? So, and it's true. Where does it end?
Well, yeah, I've even seen like TikToks with like the whole like trans bathroom issue. I've even seen like TikToks of where like women have gotten harassed because they like they're just very masculine women, and they are getting harassed in the bathroom because they think they're men or whatever, and they're because people are getting so freaked out over it, and it's just like she's saying, like where's that line?
Where is
And
the line?
yeah, and it's just getting ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? There are situations where kids are getting bullied and kids want to knock them down and tear their clothes off and make sure that what their genitals look like. And in Florida, was it, they were going to try to make people that
Yeah.
were females in sports try to report when their periods start. I mean, it is out of control. It is out of control.
And they think that this is like fixing issues and creating less problems when they're just creating more violence and
They are.
creating more hate and more suicide. Like the suicide rates are going up with that, and it's just like I don't see how they think they're fixing anything, which is
I know. And you know that old thing they say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They think they're fixing something, but what are they fixing? There wasn't anything wrong.
and they think they're like protecting children when in turn they're actually like harming them, which is the irony of that. But
That's the irony of that. What they tell their kids is what their child is going to believe. And I'm telling you, one more story about my dad, because do you guys remember? Now I'm aging myself, but there was a drag queen and her name was Chili Peppers. Has anybody heard of her? And this is back when I was younger, like I don't know, probably in my 20s. And my dad came over one time, and that old Mike Douglas show, he had Chili Peppers on, and so I had it on, and my dad walked in, and my dad walks in, and he stops dead in front of the television, and he looks, and he said to me, "Who is that?" And I said, "Well, her name is Chili Peppers." And he said, "All I can tell you is I'm in love." And I said to him, "Dad, she's a drag queen." He went, he's so funny. My dad was cute. He goes, "No shit." And then he looked at me, he goes, "I'm still in love." And I wish we could get parents to be more like that, because that is what it's about.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, we have gone past our time, but I just want to say thank you so much to you four for being on here. Mwah.
Thank you.
All right. Love you all, and we'll be seeing you around soon.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too.